If you show people who you really are, they will hate you. That's a lesson most of us learn at a very young age, including me. When I was a kid, I never really felt accepted. I was bullied every single day. People made fun of me for always wearing ratty clothes from Goodwill, but it was because my parents were too poor to buy me new things. They teased me for having a big forehead. Even people who said nothing about my physical traits still didn't like my personality. I was too weird, too awkward, too nerdy. They thought I was lame for loving to play chess, nerdy for loving math, a loser for playing StarCraft. Being constantly rejected by my peers made me feel miserable, embarrassed, and depressed. And as the years went on, I started to surrender my identity. I tried to be more normal so that people would like me. I would beg my parents to buy me expensive clothes they couldn't afford. I would wear a visor all the time to hide my big forehead. I pretended to like all the things cool kids liked and kept my true interests a secret. Maybe you've been teased for dressing differently. Or maybe people didn't want to be your friends because your interests were too weird. Or maybe you have something that makes you physically different and that alone alienated you. As a kid, you may have been the only person in your class or even your entire city to have these differences. You were different, you were weird, you were a loser, you were a freak. And as a result of that, you learned that painful lesson at a young age, just like I did. If you show people who you really are, they will hate you. So you changed yourself to survive, to be accepted. You became quieter, shyer, safer. You learned what was socially acceptable and you adopted that. This became the new you. For most of society's existence, trying to be normal was the only way to make friends. It was the only way to not have people hate you, until something came around that changed this. The internet. Over the last decade, people with unconventional interests and personalities have blown up massively on platforms like YouTube. And that allowed them to connect with other unconventional people. The same people who were once alienated loners now have massive followings of similar weirdos and freaks who love them for who they are. And here's why. When you were a kid, your community was small. If you had an unconventional interest, you really may have been the only person in your whole city to have that interest. But one city is an incredibly small sample size compared to the entire world. With the internet, your community is massive. Platforms like YouTube enable unconventional creators to find people all around the world who are just like them. People who, despite being the only one in their city to have this interest, are actually one of hundreds of thousands or even one of millions of people around the world. Without the internet, you might be weird, but with the internet, weirdos like you become heroes. When you're a creator, you give your audience the confidence that they do belong. You give them a friend that understands them. You give them a family that relates to them. You can give them a new community, one where, for the first time in their lives, they feel like they belong. And as a creator, you no longer have to be ashamed of what you're interested in. The same exact things that made you feel alienated as a kid aren't flaws anymore. They are your superpowers. This is Gigi.
Hey guys.
Growing up, she was tormented for being trans, hated for being different. But on YouTube, the fact that she is trans is why millions of people love her. Her existence serves as an example that if you are different, you are beautiful. This is Nikki. She was bullied most of her life because of her face deformity. But on YouTube, people all around the world fell in love with her through her makeup tutorials. Now, she has over 73 million views. Her existence shows the world that you can do whatever you want, despite any physical differences that you might have. This is Bunny. She's been bullied for both her appearance and her love for what society deems as creepy things. Now, she has over 1.5 billion views just by being unapologetically herself. her existence teaches people that it's okay to be yourself no matter how strange other people might find you or your hobbies. All of these people were bullied, hated, and alienated for being different. Now, they inspire people all around the world who once felt completely alone, but no longer do once finding channels like theirs. Just look at the impact you can have when you give yourself permission to use your superpowers online. You get messages like these. Watching this in tears because I can relate to you completely. It's really nice to know there are people like me. You saved me during both rounds of my postpartum depression and anxiety. You made me realize that it's okay to be a little bit weird. I'm going through something very similar, and to see someone else go through the same thing gives me so much hope and strength. I actually saved this video and watch it every single night. This is to remind me that whatever setback or frustrations we encounter in life, there is a new day to begin with. You inspire me to be myself. When I became a YouTuber, I screenshotted my first comment like this and made it my desktop background for an entire year. It said, "For the first time in a while, this video made me forget how depressed I am. As a fellow Asian introvert, thank you for changing my perspective on life." That was the first time in my life that I felt I could be authentically myself, and people loved me for it, all by utilizing YouTube. That's what happens when you find your community online. You no longer need to be quiet or shy or lie about who you are. You can be yourself. You can use your superpowers for good. And just by doing that, just by being who you are online, you can do something truly remarkable. You can teach people that their flaws are their superpowers too. You can help people love themselves. You can change the world. Now, I gave you a lot of examples that happened on YouTube because YouTube is the platform that I use to reach my community around the world. But that doesn't mean that you have to stick to YouTube yourself. With the power of the internet, you can reach your community using any medium. Create a blog, post on Instagram, start a Twitter account. Do something that allows you to express yourself to the world. Use whatever tool you want to utilize the internet and connect with the people who need you most. No matter what tool you choose, you can teach people an invaluable lesson. If you show people who you really are, they will love you.